All right, so I'm super excited to talk about frankincense for many, many reasons. We call frankincense the king of oils. We say things like, when in doubt, frankincense. It is the Swiss Army knife of essential oils, and so we really do use it that way. And in our home, especially, anytime there's anything that we are unsure of, we use frankincense and then look it up. Because it's so multifaceted. Our frankincense with doTERRA actually combines 4 species now, not just 3. It used to contain 3 species. Now it's 4. It's a blend. So you're getting chemical components from 4 different types of frankincense trees. These trees are from different places throughout the Middle East. We source this way for sustainability, but also for the chemical profile that's very unique to these different species of frankincense. I will also caution you that frankincense is one of the most popular oils to adulterate, because you can use other tree resins and you can get the essential oil out of the tree resins, and people don't know the difference. People don't know what a quality frankincense smells like, and the majority of oils are untested. So there was just an instance where I picked up a frankincense at a small herbal shop, and when I smelled it, it was cypress for sure. And so it's really interesting because cypress isn't even necessarily harvested the same way. So once you start to know the different smells and the components that you're looking for aromatically, you can smell out with pretty good certainty what's a pure frankincense and what's not. Now, the chemical composition matters with frankincense, and it matters a lot. There are frankincense trees that just don't have the chemical components that we need, and there are some that have very high levels of certain things. And so when we're blending 4 species together, it's to create a balanced oil that is effective and that works the way we need it to every time. So what do we use frankincense for? In the most basic sense, like I said, we use it for everything, but you want to think about cells. And I said this on a previous call. Frankincense is great at cell structure, helping our cells be healthy, replicate healthy, and function properly. Frankincense does a very good job at supporting our cells doing what they're supposed to do best. It also helps with our DNA response. So when we have damaged DNA and cells start to replicate in an unhealthy way, frankincense actually helps our immune system kill off those cells, and it it helps our body naturally will mark these unhealthy cells for destruction, cell apoptosis. And so when a cell is unhealthy, it's supposed to be killed off by our immune system. And what creates problems when our immune system is overwhelmed, it doesn't handle the unhealthy cells the way it should, and then they're allowed to continue and replicate, and that can become a problem. So frankincense helps the immune system kill off cells that are ready to die. And what we say in that respect is that frankincense supports a healthy cell life cycle. Every cell is supposed to live and then die, live and then die. And the problem comes when it's time for that cell to die and our immune system can't get it done. And so that's where frankincense really helps come in and support that cell function, because the death of the cell is part of the function of the cell life. So that's really what you want to think about with frankincense. So what does it do? Since it is a wood resin, it helps with structure of our skin. So it's going to help the actual skin structure underneath the top layers, so the support. So it's going to give us a really nice complexion. It's going to help with things like wrinkles and creases and scarring and blemishes. It's going to support that healthy skin underneath there to replicate properly. It's going to provide support to the collagen. It's going to help our cells to stay healthy, and so our skin's going to have a healthier glow. It also helps our body handle inflammation properly. So it's going to help our body's natural inflammation process, and it's going to help our body to calm these things down. Frankincense also, like I said in a previous call, has chemical components that can cross the blood-brain barrier. Jared, that's loud. The blood-brain barrier, so it can get into our brain and help our actual brain cells. If you go to sites like aromaticscience.com or you go to pubmed.org and you type in frankincense essential oils, you will be blown away by the amount of research being done into frankincense. It's unreal. It's unreal. So we have so much research, and me as a doTERRA person, I'm allowed to talk about like maybe this much. So I'm hoping here to like pique your interest so that you get into some of this research and go out there and see the things that frankincense is doing. Frankincense is being used by oncologists because they're noticing through some research and observation that frankincense seems to help protect healthy cells. We're seeing in research that frankincense essential oil and many other essential oils have something in them that helps them to know a healthy cell from an unhealthy cell. See, it used to be thought, the school of thought used to be that essential oils could not be used along with chemotherapy because it would protect the cancer cells and would prevent the chemo from working, because we always knew that essential oils protected cells. And so, or we've noticed that for a long time. And so people would say never use essential oils during chemotherapy because it'll protect the cancer cells. That is absolutely not true. So we're finding that taking frankincense and using frankincense at the same time as chemo and radiation, it's helping people stay healthier during that process. The frankincense seems to know the difference between healthy cells and unhealthy cells. So in the same way that it helps our immune systems notice what cells need to die, it's helping in that chemotherapy and that radiation treatments to help our cells stay healthy that need to stay healthy. And so we're seeing less damage to the skin, less damage to hair follicles, just all different kinds of very exciting things that are being researched. And so it's one of the other beautiful ways that Western medicine and essential oils are really coming together. And we're seeing a real influx of doTERRA into those settings because they can guarantee how pure they are. And because of the way they're sourced and the way that they're tested and the way that they're produced and the way that doTERRA rejects anything that doesn't come to their standards, they can use them in very specific settings. Johns Hopkins actually did a very extensive set of research on all of doTERRA's oils. They tried to use a different brand of oils, but the results, everything was so inconsistent, they had to use a different brand, so they used doTERRA. And so we see lots of exciting research, lots of hospitals bringing doTERRA on board for this reason. And frankincense is like the leader of the pack. Hang on one second. Jared, can you get Cedric some water? He's like coughing a lot. I wish there was like a pause when I'm recording these Facebook Lives. So frankincense is one of those oils where you want to be using this in your daily life. This is not an oil that you're only using when you have symptoms. This is not an oil that you're only using on blemishes or when you have a cut or a scrape or a burn or something like that. This is not one of those things. Frankincense is an essential oil that you really want to incorporate into your daily life as part of your daily routine. It's why we say you can never get enough frankincense. Every single human being on the planet could benefit from one drop of frankincense essential oil underneath their tongue every single morning. Dr. Hill is the medical founder of doTERRA. He is the one that he shares his daily protocol, frankincense, under his tongue every morning. I'm doing frankincense and copaiba every morning under my tongue. Frankincense has been under my tongue, in fact, for 3.5 years. And I've had some wild different changes in my life that, because I'm not a science project, I can't publish it, but I can tell you my eyesight has gotten better. My skin has gotten healthier. My hair is healthier than it's ever been. I have less aches and pains, right? All these things. And frankincense is the one thing that's super consistent on top of the vitamins. So this is how we think of frankincense. We think of frankincense as an everyday oil that we're using. And that's why it's super exciting that it's free this month with a 200 PV order. Okay, so frankincense, some of the things, and now I'm staying compliant with my speech so that this video can stay up forever and always. So I want everyone to really use your imaginations and to make sure that you're Googling this or looking deeper into this, reading books. Some of my favorites are like the Modern Essentials book. It's got lots of great links to research that it pulls from, so it's one of my very favorites. Things that you want to use frankincense for. Any sort of brain situation where memory is a problem, brain fog, loss of memory as you get older, issues with brain function that happen after long periods of time, things where confusion, right? Different perception problems that will arise. Frankincense is your must-have go-to. You also want to use frankincense anytime that you're dealing with injury of the brain, injury of the skull, injury of tissues, whether that's bruising, sprains, strains, breaks, right? Anything like that that comes from an injury, whether it's your brain or your elbow or your toe, you want to use frankincense because it supports all of those healthy cells. So frankincense is something in the same way that it helps with cell structure and skin structure, it's going to help that matrix of all things cellular. So you want to think anytime there's an injury where there's a breakdown in healthy tissues or healthy cells and our body's working to heal that, you want to bring frankincense to the table. Now for something localized like that, I would dilute my frankincense always. So on a knee, on an elbow, to get it into the brain, I dilute frankincense and you want to put it on the back of the neck, right? And then you also want to put a drop on the bottom of underneath your tongue. I like to diffuse frankincense for any sort of brain condition in addition, right? So any sort of brain condition, you want to diffuse it and use it topically and a drop under the tongue. It's like all three ways you want to use that daily. Different things that frankincense can help with are going to be things where your mood is shifting. So wild mood swings, getting sad and gloomy during the winter, or feeling like you can't get out of bed, feeling anxious, feeling overwhelmed, feeling like you can't focus. Frankincense is really good at bringing clarity, at clearing brain fog, at helping us to see things as they really are, and to increase the brain chemistry so that we can function at a normal, natural place. Another place that frankincense is phenomenal is in any place where you have growth from an unhealthy cell. Jared.
Yeah, I'm right here with the baby.
Okay.
Drinking water.
Maybe some breathe.
His lungs are clearing up.
I understand. I'm happy for it. We had a cold over Christmas, and so everyone's better, but it's like that weird lingering cough. But it's hard to be in here on the phone when I want to go in there and hold him. Okay, so frankincense. So you want to think about it. One of the best things it does is when there's any sort of growth of tissue that is happening wildly, like a damaged cell that's replicating over and over and over again. That's where frankincense is going to really help. So it helps your body handle these growths. It's going to help your body to decrease inflammation and to focus the immune system on that cell structure that's growing and replicating in an unhealthy way. So you might see that in uterine tissues. You know, frankincense taken under the tongue is going to help your uterine tissues grow naturally. It's going to help with some women can get very normal hormone-based cysts in their breasts. Frankincense helps with that. Helps with that hormone regulation. When you're too much hormone, too much caffeine, right, can really cause problems for a lot of women. So other ways frankincense helps to support us is with our immune system. It helps us to handle environmental threats much better. So it stabilizes our cells. It helps with cell structure. That's also true in the case of our mast cells, which are a major part of our immune system. They're what release histamine, right? So when we come in contact with something that we're allergic to or pollen and things like that, our mast cells, if they're unstable, they'll release histamine, and then we get all the itchy, watery, sneezy, coughy symptoms. Frankincense can help those mast cells stay stable. Lavender also does this really well. So things like that. You also want to make sure that you're using frankincense anytime the nervous system is involved, right? Anytime that you have overactive nervous system, overstimulated nervous system, some ways that you see frankincense being used for nerve response is going to be the occasional aches and pains. Frankincense is phenomenal at helping to handle pain in that way. Frankincense is really good at helping when you're overstimulated, when you have too much noise and you're trying to calm your brain down, when you have too much going on and you're like overwhelmed and you're thinking about 32 different things at once. But in the very real physical level, whenever you have excess electrical activity in the brain that can cause spasms, tremors, things like that, you want to use frankincense. It will help to soothe the nervous system, and it will help you return to a more balanced nervous reaction. Hoping that everybody caught what I'm talking about. Another really great place that I see this used a lot and see people in real life having great success with it are little benign lipomas. Those are in the skin, and sometimes they're just like, whether it's a cyst or a blemish or, a pimple or a blackhead or an actual gathering of fat underneath the skin. You can use frankincense on anything like that. Anything that's involving skin, you want to get frankincense on it pretty quickly and consistently. So that's the other thing with frankincense that's really important, is that consistency is what matters. You want to always be using your essential oils in a way where you're getting them into your bloodstream and keeping them there. So you don't want to necessarily use like a ton of frankincense one day and then not use it again for a week. That's not going to help your health increase overall. You want to be including these things every single day. So if I were brand new to essential oils and I was trying to figure out essential oils and their place in my life, I would start with frankincense. It's why